Hello all, Becky Malloy again, here to go over the curriculum project with you. The curriculum project is the second and final assignment for your Read 665 summer course. And I wanted to just go ahead and go through this with you. So basically, what your curriculum unit is, what this is the design or redesign of a 2 to 4 week content area unit of instruction. The unit should combine content and literacy through common objectives and approaches. Your unit should incorporate attention to various categories of analysis covered in the case study assignment. However, it will focus more on effective instructional strategies and methods used with particular texts and different forms of literacy. So in addition to the case study parts, your category case study parts, your unit should include and focus on an identified theme or topic with specific learning outcomes. Use a disciplinary discourse framework as an organizing framework for students' participation and engagement with content, information, and literacy. Include use of before, during, and after framework. Include strategies that promote inclusion of students with different language and literacy abilities and learning styles. Include strategies to motivate reluctant readers and writers. Include 10 specific strategies and methods for facilitating comprehension of each of the multiple text sources and reflection on an application of what is learned, and include multiple performance measures and outcomes to include reading and writing evaluation, performance, production, and presentation. So the one piece of this is that this being a summer course, I would not be worried about the presentation to colleagues, but you will have to complete the curriculum unit in its entirety, and certainly, again, with it being the end of the school year, may be beneficial to share your work with someone. It may be helpful, but it's not going to be a requirement for this actual assignment for this summer. Okay, so getting into the paper itself, it's going to be an 8 to 12 page paper. Think of this paper as you correcting the weaknesses you identified in your case study unit. Explain why you believe these new ideas are important and necessary. And then here are your paper categories. Please, with these, do not answer the questions, but put them down as in a narrative fashion. It's going to be a complete paper, not just numbered questions that are answered. So these are just the things that you need to hit for the background. The principles that guide your philosophy and theory of content area literacy. Your disciplinary discourse section. How will literacy practices and texts in your content unit reflect unique ways that people in the discipline think and communicate through literacy? How will the unit introduce the types of communication practices that are used in the discipline presented? How will the unit introduce discipline-informed reading and writing to students? So again, this disciplinary discourse, think about it in the way that, what kinds of opportunities are my students going to have to think and act like a scientist or a geologist or a historian or whatever it is, or a mathematician, whatever unit you decide to use for your case study modification. Now, and then following that with the curriculum unit. Now, keep in mind, I did not mention much in the last video about math, but again, you do have other options in terms of units that you could revise. It does say social studies, science, math, phys ed, health, or fine or performing arts. So that's totally up to you. It just is according to what you have at your fingertips. You will have an objective section, content objectives, literacy objectives, and then integration of the two. You'll also talk about the cultural responsiveness piece. Identify how the unit meets the needs of a diverse group of learners. Again, within this write-up, you're talking about your actual curriculum unit now. You're kind of bouncing back and forth. You're thinking about what you wrote for the case study and now what things are going to be like in this new unit. Discuss how the needs of English language, second language learners will be addressed in the unit. Identify the components of the SIOP framework that will be emphasized in the unit. Again, there's a video from Dr. Hart that explains that so well, that I have put up on under the case study resource section. Then we have the use of multiple literacies and texts. You are allowed to use the table format for this section, and this is a suggested setup. So these are things that need to be addressed within your curriculum unit. So there is a curriculum unit example, and I'm going to be posting yet another example for you to see what all these formats, how this is all laid out, so that there are no questions regarding how am I going to set up this paper. Then we talk about strategic reading and learning, explain approaches to using reading strategies across the before, during, and after phases of literacy encounters. You're also going to talk about classroom organization and practices. What is how is that going to look with this brand new curriculum unit? What is assessment going to look like? And that's basically it. So let me go ahead and just kind of run through again. This is your curriculum unit. This is what you have to have included. The items that you have to touch on. Again, it's in a narrative form unless it is specified, like in the use of multiple literacy section, where you can have the information in a table. Let me go back to our Blackboard site, and under the curriculum unit resources, there's your example. The rubric is here. And within this rubric also, it has everything set up with the background information that you have to hit, principles and philosophy and theory of content area literacy, objectives, cultural responsiveness, disciplinary discourses, English second language learners, use of multiple texts, multiple literacies texts, use of multiple literacies texts with the popular media, strategic reading and learning, classroom organization and practice, and then finally assessment. And then there is a unit outline. These are your lesson plans. I'll get to that in a moment. And then an appendix of all of your different graphic organizers. Please ignore the summer 2017. Clearly that was not updated, but this is for the summer of 2019. You do not need to worry about a peer presentation because in summer classes there is no time for that. So please don't worry about that. You will not have any points deducted for not presenting this to a peer at this point. Let's go back to the Blackboard site, and under curriculum unit, I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but I always end up clicking on a billion different things. Your directions for your appendix section. This is what is going to be included in your appendix, your daily lesson plan outlines, your samples of any work or you might not have time to grab a lot of samples in terms of student work, but you could grab samples of any kind of resources, bibliography of student and teacher resources. You could have graphic organizers, any kind of handouts that you would include within this curriculum unit. But again, if you're using books or other resources, please do include a bibliography. So lesson plans, samples, and bibliography is in the appendix. Let me see if I can, going back, see what I mean? I have to click on everything. Okay, so I am going to go through them with the daily lesson plans. That's the difference, another difference between the curriculum unit and the case study is that you do have to have a 10 to 15 days worth of daily lesson plans. Now the lesson plans are all laid out for you of what you need. You need to address for each day your general objectives, what you would do. Again, this is based on your case study. You're thinking about what this is now your case, this is now your unit. These are going to highlight all of the great changes that you've made. You have general objectives, core text, what are you going to be using to support your students in terms of text, any supplemental text, visual media online, any before, during, and after and SIOP activities, and then how is your classroom going to be organized. So that is the final component. Again, this is a template that you use. This is how your lesson plans are going to look. And again, if you look back into the site here, you will find a curriculum unit example, and this will be extremely helpful to you as you complete this assignment. So you'll see this is with permission. Crystal O'Leary took this course with me last summer and did a great job and laid everything out nicely. So take a look through that when you're ready to go through the curriculum project, and this will be extremely helpful to you. So that is basically it. You will notice, I know you probably saw here, I don't know if you can see it or not, or if you've looked at it. Dr. Hart went through the curriculum project explanation, but I'm going to be deleting this and adding this explanation because this was from a couple of semesters ago and is not applicable to what you will be doing. So that is about it for the curriculum unit. I'm trying to keep this particular video under 15 minutes so that it's easier to upload. Again, if you have any questions at all, when you get to this point, please feel free to contact me. I hope that this video was helpful to you, and I look forward to working with you all this summer. Thanks a lot.